YouTube. How is everybody doing today? Welcome to the first cast of this weekend, round of 16. This is do or die for every single person in this match right now. On today's cast, we have two very strong alliances. NB2 take on the folks of Tx46. Kingdom 103 against Kingdom 278. It's gonna be a brawl. But here's the deal. You folks in the beautiful chat we're seeing right here, 71 awesome people already with us. Welcome everybody. You reached out and you told us, guys, we want to know what's happening on the other matches. We want to understand the other matches better. Some of these matches you guys casted last week were a little boring. And we feel the sentiment, you know? It's not as easy for us to cast a match that is a blowout as much as it's not easy for you guys to watch it. And so, just like I've mentioned to you guys on every single cast, we take your feedback very seriously and we are here to improve. And so we have a few surprises for you guys on today's stream, changes on the stream that will be a little bit nicer for you guys to be able to catch all the action happening in the round of 16. Now, unfortunately, it is not possible for us to duo cast the matches. We simply do not have currently the manpower in this season of Osiris League to get the job done. But for that to happen next season, it's up to you guys. You guys need to voice your opinion. You guys need to let Lilith Gaming know we want this more. We want next season to cover every game. We want you guys to put in the extra effort into this because we want to see everything. If you guys let Lilith know about this, it'll probably happen, more than likely. We're going to talk about the second match very briefly. Then we have our friend Chisco Gaming with a couple of tips for us to keep an eye on in general and for those who are participating in the match today as well as in Ark of Osiris in general. And so let's start really quickly looking at the betting odds of that second match because my God, you guys are really went all out. This is a very one-sided situation right here. The folks of NB1 going up against the folks of C9N on the second match, which we will not be casting fully. Here's the deal. These guys are no joke. These guys are absolutely no joke, and they're going up against a very substantial alliance against them. Now, unfortunately, I was a little bit late today. I was. The internet hicked up 60 seconds before everything happened, and I was like, oh God. But we're here. We're looking at a very quick NB1 versus C9N. These are the two alliances on the other match that we will not be fully spectating. I think that this is going to be much closer than the betting odds themselves are showing us. I think both these alliances are super capable of taking the win. And with that being said, let's go back to focus on our current match. And after that, I'll let you guys know what I meant by fully casting. On today's cast, you can see right down here, myself and Dragothian will be casting not only this match, but every single match today. That's right, you guys said you guys want us, and here we are. So I'm really happy to be casting with Dragothian once again, and today is a full day for both of us because man oh man, things are gonna get rough very quickly. With that being said, I need to double check and make sure we're good to go for everything else and show you guys the match of the day. NB2 against Tx46. The odds in this match are very one-sided too. Both these matches seem very one-sided. In your opinion in the community as to who is going to win this, I believe we're going to see a much closer match than this. Here's the thing. NB2 are no joke. They are NB1's same kingdom, same alliance family. These guys share some of the biggest traits, some of the biggest players in the game. NB2 going up against Tx46. Now, Tx46 are nothing to joke about either. These folks have the biggest player in the game right now, none other than Character T himself. on top of all that, whoops, I may have called Bigrick right now instead of Dragothian and probably woke him up. Oh well. Here's the thing. Tx46 don't only have the biggest player of Rise of Kingdoms right now, but they also have a very, very solid strategy as well as a very big in-depth roster, which is going to show up against one of the biggest alliances in the game. NB2, have been very, very easily going through everything with the exception of their last match. Their last match was a bit closer, but other than that, these guys cruised through all the phases. They had a little bit of a hiccup down here as well, but overall, NB2 as well as Tx46 have been cruising through this event. Now, unfortunately, today, those who lose are out. It is over for them in this event. And so everything is on the line. This is where every single team is going to step up their game, and they're going to make sure that they put everything out, because there's no point in having strategies left in the pocket, some of those aces up your sleeves, if there is no place to play them no more. Now, due to time constraints, we're not going to be able to get some of Chisco Gaming's top 5 tips for Ark of Osiris, but to very quickly give you a few tips as a viewer as to what you should be looking for. First and foremost, as the match begins, we're going to take a look at the rally count early on to see what kind of rallies we're going to see coming out of both teams very early on towards their obelisks as well as enemy obelisks. From there, what you really want to pay attention to is who picks up the buildings faster, especially the obelisks. Every moment on the obelisk matters. The quicker you have that obelisk, the faster you can teleport, and the faster you can allow your troops to come out. One of the things that most alliances do is they save their marches so that they can insta-teleport. And so some of the biggest players don't really come out until they can teleport into the open field and really make it out swinging. Why is that? You cannot use a obelisk teleport so long as you have marches on the field. They have to be inside a building or inside your city. And so some of these players will not show up until that obelisk is secured. It's a very important thing to point out, because if by any chance an obelisk is taken, some of these folks might be out of contesting for quite a while. And so with that being said, we got to go to the match. Let's make sure we can spectate this match first and foremost. But it's going to take a quick second beyond the spectate, because as I mentioned to you guys, we are doing everything we can in order to improve the way this cast works. And I'm looking at my command center, which is that way. And so one of the improvements we did this time around is to make sure that you guys have the ability to follow along the second match that is happening at the same time. How did we do that? You'll see in a moment. And so I'm just going to make sure I have everything I need to get into that match as well. And with that being said, let's throw it into the open field where Dragothian is waiting for us to start the cast.
All right, welcome everybody. This is the round of 16 for the Osiris League playoffs. This is what we've been waiting for. I cannot wait to see this battle get started. We've got two powerhouse alliances with Newbie 2 and Tx46, both from very powerful kingdoms, very, very exceptional alliances led by great leaders. So I'm looking forward to seeing quite a few different strategies being unveiled here. I know that as we just got through the second round of qualifiers from the round of 32 that just ended last week, I know that a lot of these leaders that are going to be in these matches, they're going to be putting out quite a few new strategies that I'm really looking forward to see. I hope your mouse is ready to go crazy during these battles, Gecko.
Oh, it is, but it's not only ready. I am really looking forward for both of these matches to start so we can show the folks from the community what we've come up with this time around. As we mentioned in the beginning, there was a lot of folks really wanting to know better what's going on the second match. Now, unfortunately, we cannot show you just yet as the timer is still going down. None of these matches started. I think that you hit the nail on the head. I think that at this point, the leaders and the strategists and the folks who have put in a significant amount of time into this event are going to put everything on the table right now. They're playing for all the marbles, and they are not looking to lose. Either side is not looking to lose. And as I mentioned in the precast, there is no point in having aces up your sleeve if there is no card table to play on. So I'm really looking forward to see what happens. How many rallies do you think we'll see off the bat, Dragothian?
Oh, man, I think we're going to see 4 from each side, because that strategy of launching a rally towards the opponent obelisk and then breaking it is just too good. It's too good to pass up, and these two alliances can pull that strategy off with no problems at all. And as we start to get into the match here, counting down to nothing, and the battle's starting right now, oh boy, this is going to be so much fun to watch. I cannot wait. Let's go ahead and look at that rally counter.
And so while we take a look at that rally counter build up, let's show the folks of the community what we've been working on. You can see at the bottom, in between myself and Dragothian, the live feed of the score coming in from the other match happening right now. That is right. Even though we cannot necessarily duo cast these matches, it is a very, very hard task to do. We're going to do everything we can to keep you guys updated. And the way we did that is by having the score down below. What you guys can see is how many buildings each alliance has, how many arcs each alliance has captured, the points per minute, the players in, the teleports, and all that good stuff. So we will be going back and forth a little bit through the cast to take a look at that other match. But for now, at least you guys get to see at the bottom between myself and Dragothian, the live feed from that event, with that match, which is going on as we speak.
Yeah, and I got to say, so four rallies right out the gate from B2, 3 from Tx46. I wonder if that means they're going to be focusing on one side as they're coming across the map, maybe centralizing in the middle to go ahead and position themselves correctly for the arc, and then maybe focusing on just one side of the map heavily on one of their, either the top or the bottom side, to see if they can maybe do a strong initial push, make newbie 2 be on their back foot, and maybe try and maneuver over to that side and then switch it up. Who knows what's going to happen right now? I'm really excited to see how these different strategies play out, because I know that they're already right off the bat 2 different strategies happening right in front of us.
I couldn't agree more. However, the 2 rallies out of 3 from Tx46 are going to enemy obelisks, both enemy obelisks. So they only really rallied one of their own while rallying the 2 enemy obelisks. I'm interested to see what is going to happen in here, as maybe these guys feel comfortable with that bottom obelisk that they don't need to rally it. They are going to pass through it as they make their way to the Shrine of Life maybe, but that doesn't seem to be the case at all. NB2, just like we talked on the pregame, very fast on those obelisks. Both obelisks are already under control by them, and even though there are rallies still marching their way in here, there are rallies by NB2 making it into those obelisks, making it even harder for the folks of Tx46 to get here quick. Tx46 picking up their upper obelisk, but that bottom obelisk, well, it was just captured with a tier 1 march that left it. So it is open and vulnerable, and there is a rally coming into it. If the folks of Tx46 don't pay attention, oh boy, this might be a bad beginning.
I only see one army going over to that left obelisk for Tx46. I see the T1 army running around, but I'm not sure quite how much damage that army is gonna do. Another couple armies are starting to come out, but they're way behind. There's only one army that's really relatively close, and that's from ISO on the Tx46 side. And like you said, that rally is going to be coming in here very shortly. It'll be interesting to see if they decide to break it or if they decide to go ahead and just let it hit.
And the magic words were said by Dragothian, and so did NB2 break the rally. Literally, yep. As you said that, the rally breaks. Chizzy was not about that life. It was just a movement towards that Shrine of War. There are a couple of marches, though, making it still towards obelisks. One rally securing the top obelisk, and still rallies making it out there from Tx46. They have not broken their rallies yet, and their rallies are relatively far ahead in the map. Their bottom rally is already making its way past the desert altar and headed towards an obelisk. There are massive troops around the Shrine of War, which could have in theory cut off this rally, but that obelisk is full with a rally. It'll hold for the 50 seconds that it needs, and then people will pour it in here and hopefully get it done. cavalries making their way out of there with an infantry march nearby about to go in. And so I don't know how much this rally will be effective, Dragothian.
Yeah, me either. I'm looking at the other side too, and this one's coming along nicely with Genghis leading it. Although, again, with it being Genghis and not a mobility commander like Chow Chow, it's a little slower than normal. That being said, it can also cause a lot more damage having that skill tree. So there's people positioned all around it. I'd be curious to see if they actually let it roll, and it kind of looks like they're going to. That's interesting to see. We haven't really seen many high tier alliances letting these rallies hit the obelisk when they send them.
Well, I can tell you we're definitely going to see one of those happen or later today, if not more, as some of these folks have been grinding down their strategies. That rally did end up breaking up, and it's making its way back to the desert altar. I am a bit disappointed, Dragothian. There were only 2 marches in that rally. It wasn't a full rally, which really... It speaks volumes of Tx46, right? Who very early on couldn't even get themselves a full rally ready to go.
You know what? I don't even know if that's actually what happened. It could have actually been, because who scouts rallies inside of Osiris League anymore? That might have been a distraction rally to say, hey, look at me over here. And then while you're looking at me over here, I'm going to go ahead and send a full rally going the other side. Who knows?
I'll definitely take that.
But
I'll definitely take that
else.
explanation. I definitely take that explanation. It makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we're just looking at both sides, obviously active sides. There is a Shrine of Life being hit by a single march at the top there by Linsdahl and being defended by, looks like Lily SOE, and then certainly there looks like there's only one march inside that Shrine of Life too. So if that Genghis can get a couple of its expertise primary skills to proc, it might be able to snag it before they can get some reinforcements. We'll see.
And as you say that, Maichu is making his way in and is securing that NB2 Shrine of Life. Didn't we talk about high-tier alliances hitting obelisks? Well, there's an Alexander, a blue Alexander by Kumachu, hitting that top obelisk of Tx46 that is very well surrounded, as well as 3 cities up here. See, I really, really dig this rally. Look at how many marches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 marches in here. A counter rally finally launched on the rally. So another few marches in there. We can definitely say that Kumanchu just took away probably 11, maybe 12 marches away from the open field for Tx46 and brought them back to this obelisk. These strategies of holding the enemy's troops back at the obelisks has been huge in Ark of Osiris, and it seems to be paying off big time right now for NB2, who are also setting up 3 different rallies. Are these 2 rallies on cities? Yes, they are.
Yes, they are. And so as soon as you started talking about that Alex rally on that obelisk, I immediately went to the rally list on the bottom right and noticed that, of course, if it was me, right, I would be sending a rally to the obelisk and letting it hit. That means I'm going to be sending a bunch of rallies behind that because, like you said, they're going to have to swarm it. They're going to have to counter rally it, especially if it's an infantry rally like it was. It's going to take some time to get down. So I'm going to send a bunch of rallies behind it. And with that 1-minute rally timer that you have available to you in Osiris League and the Ark of Osiris, it really gives you the ability to start pushing with rallies using those types of tactics as a distraction. And then all that happening, right? We see 2 different strategies happening. We've got the rallies going from the blue side, but then if we look in the middle, massive fights for the Osiris, which is exactly what everybody wants to see.
And so as we spectate the center, one of the things someone in the comments has already mentioned, and we are going to be fixing that right now, is that the bottom area where you see the other match going on right now isn't really clear. They don't know which side's what. And so with that being said, we're going to keep an eye on the center fights right here for a little bit until these rallies start mobilizing, and we will make sure it is very clear on the screen who is who. So we apologize for that, chat, and thank you for the feedback. We always appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you can see, so I think from the middle battle here that we're looking at, Newbie 2 did a very good thing. So being in the middle, right, Tx46 was able to position themselves forward in front of the Ark on the opponent's side, which kind of gave them a little bit of an advantage to start really developing a kind of a concave for newbie 2 to have to go through. What newbie 2 did really well, though, is that they masked up before they made their push. They did not start throwing single 5 armies at a time. They masked up, they got their 20 to 30 marches ready to rock and roll, and they made a push all as one. That gives them the chance to break through that kind of a defensive setup. Whereas if they did not do that, they would have been picked off one by one, and then it would just be a red map right there in the middle. And at that point, Tx46 would have been able to take clear advantage, capturing that arc here in about 2.5 minutes. And right now it's going to be a hard battle for Tx46 to push back, because right now it's looking like it's a little bit more in newbie 2's favor right now in the middle.
I completely agree, Dragothian. Your timing is impeccable. I just got done adding the extra stuff on the screen for the folks watching the stream right now so they can understand what is going on at that bottom bar, which is the other match going on. It is a fairly tight match, kind of like this one. 590 on both sides. This is no joke, chat. This is no joke. These guys are here to win. These guys are the top tier of Osiris League, and the top tier of Osiris League is about to lose a bottom obelisk. Just like that, Tx46 give up that bottom obelisk, even though they had massive open field presence right next to it. And this small delay could be detrimental.
Could be. It definitely will be. I mean, not only are they not accruing points anymore, which obelisks aren't really the most point-intensive structures, but they're also not accruing teleports. And teleports are a huge deal in this type of match, especially at this level. And right now, Tx46 is looking to go ahead and just swarm this down, which at the end of the day, I think the rally that was sent to take this obelisk by newbie 2 was whittled down enough to where a swarm's going to be effective. You're not going to have the time to do a 1-minute rally. You're going to get it down in about 10-15 seconds. So this is the right move. That being said, that was about a 15-second delay on having that, but more importantly, it takes 3 minutes to recapture it. So we're looking at almost a 4-minute difference from having that obelisk versus not.
Thankfully for the folks of Tx46, this is just 80 points that the folks of NB2 will be gaining as a delta, as you call it, as the extra little bit that they're gaining right now. 590 against 570, 2 teleports available to NB2 due to the fact of that I believe it's because they picked up this obelisk, but timer also hit 45 seconds, and then 2 more teleports appeared for them too. Rally on the top red Sky Altar. This rally is being relatively swarmed. Not that many marches in here. A lot of Richards and a Richard-led rally. There's a counter rally coming in for this rally, but here comes Ethelfled, 2 Ethelfleds, trying to do everything they can to just whittle down as much of this red presence there is. But there is so much coming in here with the counter rally, with a Khan, so many open field fights.
Yeah, that's not going down.
Doesn't look like this altar is going anywhere.
Yeah, what I would do, though, let's jump into the middle. Oh, my goodness. The Ark of Osiris just opened up, and it is mayhem inside. Newbie 2 is getting pushed back a little bit. The Ark was captured and then dropped, captured and then dropped. 46 is clinging to this right now.
One of the characters on this battlefield, funnily enough, is character T, the biggest player power-wise right now in Rise of Kingdoms. He is 5 marches deep here in the center, including, and I have to point this out very, very, very much, is a Ethelfled-led march. Yes, the biggest player in the game who is very savvy as to what he does. This is the individual who ended up first place in Marauder hunting during the Eve of the Crusade, right before his Lost Kingdom that's happening right now. He's not a balloon of power. He is a very, very savvy player, just like most of the big players, really. And so, character T with an Ethelfled-led march, that says so much about Ethelfled.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, with a player of his power and character, and then also his knowledge of the game, I am kind of curious about that, because I've not had the same kind of testing that would drive me to have her as primary. I definitely would have her on the field as a secondary to a nuker combination, or if you have a full infantry march with all 5 of your armies. Having that as a second pair to a nice infantry commander would also be a really good pairing. I know that a lot of us in the top level here, we like to see those full troop type armies on the battlefield, although the way Ethelflaed's primary skill works, it does work very well as a primary to a second who also debuffs right behind it, because you can have multiple debuffs stacking up back to back to back to back. So there is some value there for sure. And I think at this level, again, you're not necessarily constructing armies or constructing sets of armies for yourself, but you're constructing them for the group of people in the middle, and the group of the people running the bottom lane, the group of people running at the top lane. That's the level we're at, guys. We're not into, yes, I've got a Genghis and a double C, or a Genghis Minnow or Genghis Saladin. I've got 10 of those, and I've also got an Ethelflaed to help debuff for those armies. That's the level that we're at right now.
Yes, sir. And one of the things you have showcased on your streams during Lost Kingdom, as well as Chisco Gaming, who has just joined us in the chat. Chisco, welcome, my friend, is what you do on the open field during Lost Kingdom. And one of the things you've done really well throughout your streams is to demonstrate to the community how to use your 5 marches to target specific marches. And so that is one of those mechanics in the game that the top tier players do. They take their 5 marches and they focus on a specific target at a time, which is carefully chosen. This is why I believe Ethelflaed at the front for character T is almost a must. She is the support for all the other 4 big boy marches that are hitting that one target really hard, and she is just debuffing like crazy to make those 4 other marches so much stronger.
We're looking at the points here, right? So almost 7,900 for newbie 2, just over 7,600 for Tx46. That obelisk capture is the only real difference right now between the scores, and that's obviously what you're going to be looking at when you're talking about down the road. We're just 40 minutes, or just under 40 minutes. Well, no, just over 40 minutes left in the game, and that could really look to pay some dividends for newbie 2 as we continue to go towards the end of the match. I mean, these buildings are not really getting swapped. And of course, just as I say that, Tx46 decides to go ahead and take the Shrine of Life at the top from newbie 2. So right away, starting to make sure that we have some more delta for the Tx46 side versus the newbie 2 side right off the bat.
So Dragothian, we had mentioned to the community that we will be taking a look at the other match every now and then, just to keep you guys a little more informed on what's going on. If you take a look at the bottom off the screen, you can see that right now there is a little bit of a despair in points as well as the points per minute. I think it's time for us to go take a look at that very briefly. What do you think, Dragothian?
Hey, we can take a peek in. I don't know, it's getting kind of heavy and hot and heavy in the middle there at the arc. It's hard to peel my eyes away from that.
Yeah, so very quickly, you'll keep an eye on that match and keep us honest very fast. We can make our way back really quickly. But for now, we're taking a look at the other match briefly. The folks of blue, the guys of NB1, are currently holding on to every single altar on the map. The desert altar at the bottom is being swarmed, but there is a trade-off. The folks of C9N are carrying the Ark of Osiris, and it made it quite far down their way, and they have much more presence in the center. They were willing to give up the altar, a bunch of their altars in order to get this. They've already captured back their own altar, but they're 300 points per minute down, Dragothian, and they're about 700 points difference between the two teams. We're going to keep our eye close on this match, but I think it's time for us to go back to the main match.
Yeah, let's go back and wow, I mean, both of these matches, I wish we could have them side by side if we had screens that could fit them, right? It would make so much sense to go ahead and have something like that. But while you were gone, some big moves were made by Tx46. We've got red positioning forward, not only at the Shrine of War and the Shrine of Life, but also they took an outpost. And then at the same time, newbie 2 decided to take an outpost of their own, but not nearly big enough of a structure to counteract those 2 shrines that Tx46 took. Now, at the expense, it looks like, though, of some ground being made up by newbie 2 with that arc in the middle.
Yes, sir. And the points per minute favoring the folks of Tx46 by about 160 points per minute. They take the lead for the first time in this match. 23 minutes into, well, 22 and 20 seconds. I backed out of that sentence and went in kind of like you did when it comes to times. I haven't slept yet tonight, my friend. And so counting is not on the top of my brain cells right now. But what is this massive ground that NB2 are gaining back with this Ark of Osiris. It seems that it just happened on the other match as well, right? These guys are trading back and forth, Ark of Osiris for buildings. But as they say that, NB2 pick up an altar away from Tx46. Tx46 trying to do the same with the top desert altar. But what the heck is going on here? Dragothian, I'm so confused.
Look, we knew this was going to happen, and I told you to get your mouse ready because, I mean, there's going to be action all over the map. There's going to be battles in the middle that everybody wants to stare at. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to set the under for Ark captures at this match at 2. I don't think there's going to be more than 2. I think there's going to be 2 or less because there's going to be dedicated forces from both sides in the middle, consistently streaming in and out. They've already ported forward at this point. As you can see, 0 teleports available on both sides. I really think that maybe 2 at most arcs are going to be captured in this battle, and really it's going to be won by these structures being rallied and kept. And right now, there's an Ethelfled rally getting demolished. Looks like, no, that wasn't a rally. That was one.
It was the one guy trying to do his thing, trying to snatch that altar or die trying, and so he did. That Ethelfled got booted out. Those of you who are watching this is not what I mean by using an Ethelfled. You can take a better look at Z78 right here on the Shrine of Life, using his Ethelfled to debuff that shrine as much as possible while his rally with an Alexander is hitting hard. There is another Ethelfled on the field right here by Maichu, who I guess is hitting the nearby marches. I hope so, and I hope it doesn't hit the Shrine of Life, because, Dragothian, debuffs don't stack. If you have 2 Ethelfleds hitting the same thing, it won't give you twice the debuffs. What you had previously mentioned about a secondary that stacks debuffs, it would be so long as it's not the same debuff. It's not the same debuff, right? Or else they wouldn't stack. The biggest one would work. And so this is why some of the commanders that we've been seeing used with Ethelfled, such as Hannibal Barca, pairs up so well, because they don't intervene with each other's buffs. They complement.
Right, and Ethelfled's debuff, I believe, is only 2 seconds, so it usually takes about 1 second to 2 for that second skill to go off anyway, so it actually works out really well where the end of that first debuff is usable for that second skill to go off from a debuff standpoint, whether it's a damage perspective or, in this case, we're talking about a second debuff. You'll start a brand new debuff that is coming on right at the end of when Ethelfled's debuff is supposed to end. So that's the way that the players that are in this level of content in this game, and man, I mean, just, you're looking at this map and you're looking at this match, and we're talking about strategies on things that could be going through these guys' mind. At the end of the day, a lot of this stuff that we're chatting about right now are things that they've been thinking about for months, and we're just trying to break it down for them in a matter of an hour, seeing their strategy kind of unfold and what they're trying to do. And I got to say, I like Newbie 2's strategy of capturing a bunch of altars. That's going to definitely be helpful for their point count here in just a moment once everything captures.
And so we spectated a little bit of a lapse of judgment, I believe, by 2 characters from Tx46 who were just sitting right next to the Sky Altar as it was getting destroyed. I think it was the same individual who was just focused perhaps on the center a little bit more. He is currently carrying, I believe, no, the name is different. It's the same name kind of, but not really. This guy had 2 marches outside trying to potentially do something. Nope, he just chilled there and let that altar fall. This is where the match is decided. It's not a matter of who has the most tier 5s anymore, because all of these guys have plenty. It's not a matter of who has the most commanders, because most of these guys have plenty. It's about who can stay focused the longer, execute on both the long-term strategy as well as the short-term tactics, as well as be able to defend and counter the opposition's both long-term strategy as well as short-term tactics. A lapse of judgment like that, is huge. That's 150 points per minute that Tx46 no longer have. And even though they might be able to take that altar back really quickly, which they aren't, by the way, that's a place for newbie 2 to regain the lead, as they are just 290 points behind.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at this arc battle here. Like I said, this is going to go for quite a while. Even, I mean, they're going right versus backwards. I'm not sure why that's happening, but this is going to go back and forth. In the middle is going to be a nonstop battle, probably the entirety of this entire match. So you see all the blinking red structures right now with the shrines on the right side of the map. I don't see any blinking yet on from a blue perspective. I know there's a couple rallies that are coming out from the Tx46 side, but it looks like they're just really putting a lot of pressure on here in the middle just to make sure that they limit the number of arcs that newbie 2 can capture, or more importantly, if they can bring back that arc and bring it back to the middle and start bringing it back to their side, or if they really want to get squirrely with it, they can rally that altar, that desert altar to the right, capture it, and then take the arc right over there and say, thanks for bringing it over here for us. I appreciate you.
So the funny thing is the red buildings blinking don't have a rally. These are swarms by NB2. They're swarming the Shrine of War right now. Tx46 is not going to let this slide. They have some marches making it in. Someone made it in just in the last second to reinforce that Shrine of War. And there are 2 more marches coming in, but it seems like they're more focused on hitting the open field rather than going in the building. This building flipped to blue, and it's a tragedy for Tx46 because now they're 300 points behind, 300 points per minute behind, and truthfully, they're starting to lose that head-to-head momentum they had. Up until about 5 minutes ago-ish, let's call it 3 minutes, it seemed that both teams were going head-to-head pretty evenly, but the lapses of concentration by Tx46 seem to be really working in NB and newbies' favor, right? The Ark of Osiris is being contested, like you mentioned, but NB2 have not stopped for a second to hit buildings and to gain ground on the points per minute game. And it seems that the more this Ark battle goes, the longer it continues, the more lapses of concentration happen on the side of Tx46, who right now do pick up the Ark of Osiris and lose it instantly, but just like they lost it as that fast, they keep losing most of their buildings, and right now they only own 1 altar, and you know that is not good.
Definitely not from a points per minute perspective, and we're looking at having the match pretty much even up here in the next minute or two with the way the points per minute structures are right now. With 30 minutes left in the match, this is anybody's match. Tx46 definitely has some rallies going now. You see a lot of blue buildings blinking. You got the Shrine of War to the left. You've got the Shrine of War to the right. You've got I think that's the Sky Altar to the right as well. That one's getting swarmed, and there's also a couple rallies headed out too. They're making their push. They've also managed, not very, very much, but they did manage to bring that arc back just a little bit. But right now, it is captured and controlled by newbie 2, and it looks like there's just not quite enough troops on the Tx46 side here to stop this from happening. There's just an absolute swarm of newbie 2 folks here stopping any more Tx46 from coming and trying to capture the arc carrier.
So with 30 minutes, 29 minutes remaining in the match, it is time. There's plenty of time for both teams to really win this. I mean, 30 minutes and 31 minutes in, only 600 points difference. That's not significant. Now, of course, this arc will give 3,000 points to the folks of newbie 2, but I mean, everything is still open. And my question is to the folks in the chat, who do you guys have for the win? Who did you guys bet on? Leave us a comment in the chat right now with the hashtag NB2 or hashtag Tx46. Let's see that spam coming up and see what the community thinks about this match. The betting odds seemed very favoring NB2. However, maybe the folks here spectating at this time are have a little bit of faith, more faith in Tx46.
I don't know if it's more faith or more bets. So we'll see how that goes. Like you said in the pregame, Tx46 is the heavy underdog from a betting perspective. And those of us that want to make a ton of coins and hopefully get a little bit of an underdog victory to boot, have put coins on TX46 side. But like I said, both of these teams are very, very well respected, and not to mention very, very capable fighters on the battlefield. You've just seen, just in 30 minutes, all the destruction and chaos and mayhem that's been in front of you. And I can't say enough about both of these teams. The strategies have been going great. There hasn't been really too many blunders. Most of it's been very controlled. There was that one obelisk drop at the bottom that we saw earlier from the TX46 team, but took it right back, went ahead and swarmed it. It was about a 4-minute hiccup, and they came right back into it. And as you can see, these guys are starting to do strategy on the fly. I think they had their initial strategy coming in. They executed it. Then the middle happened. And then once the middle got so heated and so heavy, and it took 20 plus minutes for that arc to get captured by Newbie 2. Now that that's done, it's starting to get a little bit back more to normalcy, at least for the next couple of minutes until the arc spawns again in 6.5 minutes. But they were doing a lot of strategy and adjustments on the fly. Okay, we need to do this to go ahead and counter what they just did, and we need to go ahead and do this because this is where the arc's at. That's the beauty of this event inside of Rise of Kingdoms.
The bottom Sky Altar has me a little bit confused. NB2's Sky Altar has been consistently challenged by the same individual with the same one march, Ethelfled. This time he sent another march with an Alexander to kind of help out. But that bottom Sky Altar is so well defended that it really, really puts a question mark on TX46's long-term strategy. Because quite frankly, if you keep sending one or two marches, solo marches to hit a full building, I don't even know what to say about that. It's either someone is not really trying to win, someone has not got the message that that building is full of troops of tier 5s, there is no point in hitting it by yourself, or maybe the guys of TX46 gave up on that altar altogether. Great defense by them, however, at the bottom desert altar that belongs to them, and now they got a challenge on the top sky altar, which is being rallied by the rally, but a rally is being swarmed and being chunked down real quick. That rally
that went quick,
goes out the window, gonzo, and that sky altar locks in favor of TX46. And guess what, Dragothian? They have evened it out and even taken a small point per minute lead. Very, very brief small point per minute lead. It's nothing critical as of right now, but with 25 minutes remaining, there is so much time still for TX46 to get through this. Their top priority has to be right now to put a lot of pressure on these buildings, get Newbie a little bit distracted from the center, because as you said, within 5 minutes that arc is coming out, and I have a feeling that second arc is pretty much going to determine the game, not because it's going to be the point that'll win it. If Newbie 2 pick up this arc, it'll be indeed a very, very tall task for TX46. But if TX46 do pick it up, the match is back to being super even. And when that happens, you know what I like to see as a tiebreaker, right?
Oh boy. I don't want to hear the word. Before we get into that.
Yes, sir.
Before we get into that, let's go to the middle. I'll make a comment on TX46's positioning. So just a second ago, they were camping out at the Temple of Osiris, which is where the Ark of Osiris obviously spawns. It's got 4 minutes left to pop, and right now they are starting to push out. They were sitting there, I want to say, for roughly a minute or so, and that doesn't sound like a very long time, but you've got players at the top that are fighting, which you can see at the top edge of the screen there. And then now that you've got people coming in from the left as well, this, for TX46, this was the time for them to establish the line of demarcation right there. That should be where the ends of those two lines of mountains meet. That should be your line. If you're TX46, I want my armies there so that they cannot come past that line, and you leave one fast march army right beside that Temple of Osiris so that you can capture it, and you've got that huge space. If you can at least keep them backed up to where they're at right now, you've got that huge space to where now Newbie 2 needs to go through you versus come at you. So, and if we're looking at the screen right now, you're starting to see how they can start swarming a lot of these armies that are coming in from Newbie 2, because they're not necessarily attacking TX46 marches. They're trying to get towards the arc And even though there's just under 3 minutes left for this arc to spawn, you gotta be at that temple right there, or else you're going to be at a significant disadvantage right off the bat.
3 minutes is plenty of time, however, and you mentioned this very clearly, that the line has to be on the blue side's play area where the mountains meet. However, there's one thing to point out. With 3 minutes remaining, there is plenty of time for all these blue individuals to get knocked out of here and make their way back in. However, the folks of Tx46, by pushing out too far, will have a much longer march back just to get into the center again. And so doing that push requires a good timing as well. You have to keep an eye on how much time is remaining and understand that even though the folks up on the top right, which you mentioned, were fighting in the open field, and they did manage to hold on to that top area of the center corridor, you can see that these marches by an NB2 are marching back home, and they might have plenty of time to make it back into here. But the marches that are depleted of armies by Tx46 will not be able to refresh. And so the timing of pushes has to be very, very, very carefully analyzed. And this is something you can only figure out playing the match and making that play again and again with different timers left on the arc, and figure out how fast can you get there. Now, the funny thing is, the folks of Tx46 made a little push for buildings, and they actually took the point per minute lead for a moment, but NB2 were not about that life at all. They're really not about that life. They instantly picked up their altar back, and now they're trying to defend the bottom desert altar, which is being swarmed by Tx46, and it will most likely not go in favor of NB2. That goes out the window, and back we go to an even playing field. Shrine of Life at the bottom getting rallied by NB2, but the rally was successfully defended. At this point, if everything stays even, it looks like we're going to go back to 590, 590 with about 4,200 points in the favor of Newbie 2. This arc is not enough for Tx46 to win. It is only 3,500 points, so they're going to have to figure out how to get that extra point per minute gain in order to lock up their victory, or provisions. What?
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at this map here, and obviously the arc is just about to pop in 5 seconds, and that's going to be a scrum like crazy. And if it was me, the map, and just like you said, it's about to be 590, 590 here in just a moment. Although there is a pretty nice rally from Newbie 2 hitting this Shrine of War on the top, but the arc is going to be crazily defended and crazily tried to be captured by the Newbie 2 folks. I think if it was me, again, having all these armies positioned right around this desert altar on the top side from Newbie 2, and it looks like there is a rally that's going to be trying to come in, or they might just try to swarm it, who knows. But they've got 4 or 5 armies just sitting here waiting. This is exactly the play you want to make if you're Tx46, because you're going to start differentiating yourself from a points per minute perspective. And then on top of it, on the back end, look at this move on the back. Somebody's going and capturing some outposts because they're not defended on the Newbie 2 side. And remember, those are 30 points per minute per pop. So that's 90. If you can cap all of that, not only are you making the opponent's team lose 90 points per minute for about 3 or 4 minutes, but if you can manage to capture it, you might actually get a few more points for yourself too.
Dragothian, huge lapse of judgment by Aphrodite. There was a tier 1, I believe, or those might be tier 4s, march with a Cao Cao ready to pick up that arc and dip, but Aphrodite with her tier 5s and a Minamoto decided, I'm gonna pick it up instead. And right now, that is exactly how NB2 made it back into potentially picking up this Arc of Osiris. I am amazed by the fact that Vice 6 is marching right next to Aphrodite going, my goodness, my march was supposed to take this. And you're marching slower. It's tier 5s. It's not a fast cav. It's just what Newbie 2 needed from the folks of Tx46. And right now, because of the way the occupations of buildings worked out, Newbie have a lead, a very small lead for a few more seconds up until this ends up. But the thing is, there is a rally. There's a situation down there in the bottom sky altar. It's blinking, the blue one. So is the top desert altar. The arc is marching pretty easily, and it seems like it might make its way. The top desert altar goes in favor of Tx46. Pretty big presence by NB2 around here. Boy, oh boy, this is turning around real quick.
Yeah, exactly. So what do we say? We need to capture the arc. You know, if we're Tx46, we need to get a very good position on the arc, and that sky altar that I was talking about right before the arc dropped, that was their play. Now I don't know if they're going to pull this off. That sky altar is looking like it's going to be very well defended, and there's more reinforcements right off of that obelisk to the north. But then when you're looking at the left side and the bottom side, you've got a swarm there too. That's going to hold pretty firm. I think that ultimately just having these 3 altars for Tx46 for enough time to make up that little bit of gap that we talked about with having that second arc capture on top of having that third altar as well. That's going to be very interesting to see if they can do this. Now the new spot to stare at is exactly where you're at, that desert altar. That's going to be the place where we need to sit tight, because that's going to be a heavily contested spot for at least a few minutes.
And the one important thing to notice here that Newbie 2 did really, really, really well is they realized that the arc is donezo. They realized we ain't about that life no more because we can't capture it. And those marches from the center, instead of trying to stop the dying phoenix from dying, trying to keep it alive like Tx46 did with the first arc, these guys realized they are way behind in buildings right now. They can lose their lead very quickly. They dipped off of that arc, and that is one of the hardest calls to make in Arc of Osiris. When you pull the plug on the arc, and it has to happen. You saw that Tx46 spent so much to try to get that arc from the blue side that they ended up getting into this situation. Thankfully for them, they managed to come back, but the reason they came back is exactly as you and I mentioned. They reset, went for the buildings, picked up the arc, caused chaos, and Newbie instantly reacting, letting go of that arc, but going for this desert altar. Now, Dragothian, the other match that's happening in the background, we're not going to go into it at least not right now because things are nuts. But if the folks in the chat and in the stream look down below, you can see Newbie 1 are taking a pretty substantial lead, almost 4,000 points in their favor. The crazy thing is, the folks of C9N are the ones who picked up the first arc. The next one is coming up in 6 minutes. That's how contested that arc was. And 590 in favor of blue against 410. Buildings blinking everywhere. We're going to keep our eyes on that match, but I believe for the first time in a while, we made the best pick.
Well, hey, we can only do what we can do, right? I want to say that, even though it's a 4,000 point match down there at the bottom, one arc is, about 4,000 points. So that's going to work out really well. Yeah, exactly. So if they've got that point per minute thing exactly the way they want it, which right now that looks like they don't, but that can change in a heartbeat kind of event. That looks like that one's also going to go down to the wire. So, man, we're definitely getting some really, really nice round of 16 playoff games getting kicked off with a bang. Both of these matches are looking really good, and the Kingdom with Newbie in it, with Newbie 1 and Newbie 2, are definitely showing up big for these first 2 matches. Both of them right now winning their matches respectively, although the one we're watching right now is literally going back and forth, just like we just saw. It went in favor of Tx46 now.
I love it. Tx46 has the lead. The moment you say it, the lead goes in favor of Tx46 for I believe the first time, right? Were they on the lead at all? I don't think so, right?
No, they let a little bit.
They let a little bit. So all right, the second time for the night, I guess. But then it goes back in favor of Newbie 1 and Newbie 2. Can you guess how it went back in favor of Newbie 2? I will tell you how. It's called provisions. That's the little bit of points they picked up right there, which gave them the opportunity to keep the lead just a little bit longer. And that's the kind of play I'm looking to see. I'm looking to see the folks of NB2 utilize everything within their power to potentially win this at any case whatsoever. It is not as easy as it seems to manage 5 marches on the field. When it's on the open field, sure. But when you're filling rallies, putting a march in the building, you have a march in the center, comms are going nuts right now because newbie 2 kind of mistimed their push towards the arc. I think it's very, very good for an individual to say, I have an march that I cannot keep my eye on. Let me send it to a provisions and just get a little bit of extra points. And that's what gave them the lead for a good 15 seconds. It wasn't enough. It will not be enough for them to win the match strictly on provisions. But those little bits are the micro optimizations, like our friend Chisco says, that really make the difference between a very, very close match. And I mean, this match is barely 95-point difference. How crazy is that? 12 minutes remaining.
I mean, you can't complain. You cannot complain with a match like this, getting to see the action all over the place, blinking buildings everywhere, marches going back with sad faces, huge pushes made on all sides from both teams. I mean, right now I'm looking at the Sky Altar on the left side, and it's looking like that's not going to go anywhere in favor of Newbie 2. And then the same thing with the Shrine of War that just stopped blinking because that rally got pushed back. That was an Edward rally that stopped blinking, and now we go up to the Shrine of War, just getting that rally hitting from Tx46. And I mean, there's just rallies everywhere. And again, oh yeah, by the way, 3 minutes and another arc spawns, and guess where people are at? I mean, just warming around the Temple of Osiris in the middle.
And so we will go take a look at that Temple of Osiris in a moment, but at 590, about 200 points, less than 200 points in favor of Tx46. And this Shrine of War can really, really determine this to an extent. If this Shrine of War falls right now in favor of Tx46, that is 240 points that NB2 will not be getting. It doesn't mean that it'll lock in the favor of Tx46, but right now if they can take those 80 points per minute away from Newbie 2 for 3 minutes, that's what they need to extend their lead just a little bit, and then they just have to hold on to that Ark of Osiris in the center with everything they got. And of course, they really, really need to keep holding on to this Desert Altar, which is getting rallied by Chizzy. And that rally was doing a lot of damage, but now it's getting swarmed and melt away like 1,000-degree knife and butter.
Yeah, these rallies are not going to be in a good way very soon with all the swarming happening. And now there's some obelisk rallies going, well, not rallies, but somebody's trying to run a quick capture on the Newbie 2 side at least, but there is a rally on the obelisk on the right side, and wow, that is looking pretty good in favor of Newbie 2. They need to swarm that down in a quickness and put troops in that obelisk. Nope, they did not do it. That obelisk goes in favor of Newbie 2 on the right side for Tx46. That is a huge blow in favor of Newbie 2 with the Ark of Osiris popping in 1:30 seconds. That is a crushing hit. 4 minutes of not getting points. The teleports are stacking up at this point, so teleports aren't that big of a deal. But if they're able to defend it, which I don't think that rally took too much damage, they can start porting over here and hitting some cities. We'll see what they do.
Character T dipped from the center, went to the Shrine of Life up top, 5 marches, about to take that. The offset done by Tx46 was picking up an outpost away from NB2, which means now, 20 points per minute less for the obelisk in favor of NB2, but 30 points less for them. As a result of 2 outposts going down, that means 60 points less, with Character T swarming the life out of the Shrine of Life. That worked out really well, turns out. That's another 80 points less, and now he still has 5 decent marches. One of them is pretty beaten down. 2 of them are about at the halfway point, and 2 of them have taken a little bit of damage. Those can go back into the center just to try to delay things. At this point, it's a game of delaying everything. Everyone is trying to delay the other team rather than gain ground. They are so close to each other with less than 10 minutes remaining that at this point, there goes the Shrine of Life, and really 120 points per minute in the favor of Tx46 is everything they could have dreamed of. And all they need to do right now is not let Newbie 2 take that arc. And as you pointed out previously, people are going nuts in the center, although I do see a lot more blue presence than red. If that arc drops on the red side, it'll be a little bit of a blow for the guys at Newbie 2. But if Newbie 2 take it out into their side, TX46 are going to have to do a lot to stop this from coming in favor of the folks in blue and to clutch a win with it. And so it does drop on their side, and it is marching and marching fast.
Yeah, if TX46 can at least stop them from capturing it, that's all they need to do. There's 8 minutes left in this match, and there's buildings getting hit on every single side still. TX46 is playing the building game, but unfortunately, this arc is moving pretty fast. Unfortunately for TX46, it's moving very fast towards the Newbie 2 side. If Newbie 2 captures this arc, this could be a nail in the coffin. Yeah, this could be a nail in the coffin. It's going to be very difficult, especially with the buildings being defended as well as Newbie 2 has been defending them all match to get those points back from a permanent perspective.
And so the worst part of this whole thing is it seems that people lost sight of why they're in the center. A lot of fights are happening when the arc is way too far from you. And quite frankly, for folks to chunk down marches makes no sense. At this point, you got to take all the damage and just march towards that arc. Even if you lose half of your march making your way to the arc, it is definitely worth it so long as you can position yourself next to it and not let it move. That's what the folks of TX46 decided to do, and they are pushing, and they started to counter it. Our friend character T making his way from the top, as well as Call Me Maybe.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, I was going to say, I got to stop you. Look at the top of the screen. They're coming in. They're coming in from behind after taking that altar too, the desert altar for Newbie 2 is down. They were able to swarm that with a rally. It's down in the favor of TX46. And now those same armies are coming to the middle behind the arc. They're going to try and completely sandwich these guys. It's going to be incredible. The match is going to go down to the wire. I cannot wait. This is going to be awesome.
I'm shaking. Keep talking. I'm shaking. I need a moment to breathe.
No problem. So look, we've got the arc still moving. I cannot believe this arc is still moving. I don't know why these TX46 armies are not going right for that arc carrier. You do not let him move any inch more towards a blue structure. You cannot. You have to stop them. It's 5.5 minutes left almost. You got to get them stopped on the field. You got to start bringing that arc back away from any blue structure that you can see. Man, the points per minute are looking very good in favor of TX46, but if Newbie 2 captures this arc, it is over, and this arc is still moving. It is still moving. I cannot believe this arc is being – the guy has a sliver of health. He can literally get looked at wrong by a TX46 member, and he will go down. He has
It's even worse than that. Troops. Let a YSG proc, one YSG proc, and it's done. He is still moving. Thank the Lord that thing stopped for TX46 and for my RX, quite frankly. There is massive presence coming from the bottom. Lots of calves in favor of TX46 running here. There are marches all over the place. This is getting nutty. People are picking up the arcs. 3 people trying to pick up the arc. It is too close to that outpost of ISET. Some red marches are marching towards the outpost of ISET. If NB2 snooze and that outpost of ISET goes out the window, boy, oh boy, it's going to be a problem. The arc carrier is getting chunked down and is taking hits hard. Where is TX46 on this outpost? Where are the people even coming out of the outpost at this point to try to fight it? All you need to do is to pick up this outpost and hold on to it for dear life, and it's over.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about a structure that can have up to 500,000 troops in it. Now, the question is, does it have 500,000 troops? If it doesn't, of course, TX46, you need to capture that building immediatay.
I can tell you for a fact it doesn't. 2 people just left that building.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Well, now it looks like somebody is going right into it there. Well, at least it were until they turned back around. They definitely need to get – I mean, there's plenty of blue marches on the map. They need to get – if I was the blue team, I would be throwing 2 armies in.
The arc is not moving.
Right
okay.
Now.
The arc started moving. Okay, sorry. It wasn't moving. And you're talking, and I'm like, move, stop, do something. I'm losing my mind.
It's moving again.
Someone take that outpost. TX46, please. Yes, there it is. Sorry, RX, I apologize. That's the play we were looking for. Now, put your troops in there and hold on for dear life. That building is everything you need right now. And, I mean, how are you going to find the arc inside that mass? mass of marches. Oh my god, what is going on, Dragothian? I'm
Oh my goodness.
I don't know.
Speechless.
Take it away,
Now,
please.
yeah, so they just took it back. So newbie two just took it back. That TX46 just did not have enough players sitting at that spot. Now, again, where's the arc, right? It should be right there. They should be able to capture it. It's literally at the doorstep. I can't even tell. There's so many armies sitting right at that building. I don't even know if the arc carrier. Yep, there it is.
There it is, and
There
that's
it
the
is.
match.
Newbie captures it. Yep. Wow. What a play. Newbie two definitely brought everybody to the middle. They said everybody to the middle right now because I saw rallies on each side from TX46 hitting with not many defenders. So wow, what a play! Wow, what a play on both sides. That was literally down to the wire.
It was such a crazy play. My game crashed. That's how bad it was. It was such a crazy play. And the fact that this time Newbie 2 knew exactly what the timing was to get that arc back into that to get into the center and grab that arc. Last time they mistimed it by a little bit. This time they knew they had to get it done. I am quite disappointed with TX46, quite frankly, because I noticed quite a lot of marches happening that were doing nothing. They were fighting other individuals in the center. There was so much more presence by TX46 in the center that they cared to truly to go after that arc. That was so close, Dragothian, so close.
Yeah, it was a 2 minute. It ended up being a 2 minute battle. We have less than 2 minutes right now, at a minute and a half, and wow, that arc went uncontested for a good screen length
For sure.
from the Temple of Osiris, and that was the difference. Really, I cannot believe, like you said, the red team was not able to just directly punch to that arc carrier instead of fighting the armies that were protecting it from the newbie side. I struggle with that decision. I don't know if they just couldn't get through, like something I really don't understand what that play was. I think in the heat of the moment, it's obviously a lot easier for us not being the one maneuvering the armies and coordinating in different programs to get to tell you what's supposed to happen here versus being inside of it and being, having your heart rate be twice as high as it's supposed to. And, you're ringing in your ears because you're so focused on what you're doing. Huge play, obviously, by Newbie 2 to be able to get that arc back, get it to the building, and have it be captured and then recaptured by Newbie 2. Wow, what a game. With 30 seconds left, absolutely amazing. And then, at the bottom there, that's also looking like a big win coming up for Newbie 1. So it looks like,
Both
wow,
alliances
we're
bringing
gonna
the
have
bread back
playoffs.
home. Bringing the bread back home. And the thing is here, right? I gotta say that when you get into that level where your heartbeat is going crazy, the adrenaline is rushing, everything is good, you have to stop listening to your surroundings and focus on what you know how to do best. What I mean by that is, if you go and take a look at the replay, anyone who's watching, you'll notice that in the center, when the arc was brought down, there were marches who were aiming at other blue marches, walked past the arc into a fight. That is a lapse of focus by certain individuals. And when you get to a point where things are chaotic, you have to revert back into understanding what your role is, understanding how comfortable you are on the battlefield, and playing your game, isolating all the noise and craziness in the background. Focus on the target. TX46 are out of this tournament. Can we get a huge GG in the chat? I want to see a huge spam in the chat. GG to TX46. Let's go take a look at the stats.
Yeah, for sure. And looking at the champion of Egypt right here from Newbie 2, Chizzy J with a total score of 98,218. And then certainly with these stats we're on the screen here, looking at the provisioning score that's getting hovered over for sure. I think at the end of the day, the arc is what won it. I think that was pretty clear at the end of the match there with 2 minutes left. Newbie 2 securing that arc was a huge victory. What do you think about the stats here? I'm looking at some very similar numbers from both teams.
Yeah, it tells you the story of an even matchup that went till the end. Everybody did everything they had to do. I believe Newbie 2 utilized 2 more teleports, which is an interesting thing to notice here because what does that truly mean? It means that someone who was in the top or bottom obelisk swapped sides, because you had already the individuals porting up to the front, at least a big majority of them. You could say, you know, more people went out. It's not necessarily true, but the fact that there are 2 more teleports for newbie 2 than for Tx46 means that potentially either someone swapped sides to understanding that that side needs a little reinforcement, or it's the fact that, you know, 2 more people ported forward, which means 10 more marches have a shorter march time. Boy, oh boy, that got close. My heart is racing, Dragothian.
I could only imagine if I was inside of that arc. You know, being as you know, even on the TX46 side, I've been in that position many, many times, where we are trying desperately to stop an arc from getting captured, or just as well, we're the ones trying to capture that arc with 100 armies around us, trying to find any way to move the ball forward. And Newbie 2 was able to pull it out. There's no question about it. Both of these teams deserve to be here. Clearly, this whole match was really a back and forth. TX46 had a really strong strategy. I think that overall, both teams were very, very well organized. Newbie 2 at the very end, though, with the coordination and timing on that last arc, that's what kind of won it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, the people going nuts in the chat with losing their money. Remind you very quickly that you only lose 50% of your Oryx, so at least something is coming back home. It's not like usual gambling, which you should not do, by the way. And folks, as Dragothian mentioned in the chat, that is why it's called betting. It's not called winning. Sometimes you lose too, but hey, at least you get 50% back, which gives you an opportunity next week to try to make that Oryx back. Remind you guys, Oryx are insignificant. They are not a currency, and it is gambling. Gambling is not a good thing. Do not gamble outside of a Rise of Kingdoms and Oryx. Even if you're on a winning roll with the Oryx, gambling is no good. Legendary Commander sculptures are nice, but losing your house isn't. Dragothian, any final thoughts before we go back into the analyst thing, studio, whatever we call it, for a final summary? I don't even know what to call it.
Sure, yeah. I mean, being in the States, just do it responsibly, and you're in really good shape. Just don't become a degenerate with it. Overall, again, the numbers look really solid. Kingdom 103 being one of the most powerful kingdoms, obviously Newbie being one of the biggest family of alliances in the game. Obviously, that being very, very well proven out here with the first 2 matches of the round of 16 for Osiris League, both going in favor of Newbie 1 and 2. Wow, I mean, it's some big alliances just got eliminated first off the gate, being the ones with a single elimination, and 2 moving on, both from the same kingdom, from the same family of alliances. That should say a whole lot about what's going on in this playoffs. This is turning into a Newbie playoff.
Yes, sir, and I was completely not paying attention right now because I am still letting that rush, that adrenaline rush go away. This was really a truly awesome match to watch. We have not seen something that interesting in a while. Gecko, I have lost 50 coins. I am sad. P3P, I have lost 800. It is all good, my friend. It's all fun and games. Nothing too crazy has been lost. The house is still there. Your wife maybe is still there. I am single. Thank you very much. Dragothian, have a great night, my friend. Thank you very much for the great cast, and I will see you in the next slot.
Sounds like a plan, brother. Look forward to it.
Yes, sir. Let's swap it up back. Thank you guys very much for being with us today. Congratulations to the folks of Newbie 2, as well as the folks from, if I can get it to work, from Newbie 1. Both the alliances making incredible wins to make it out of the round of 16 into the quarterfinals, I believe, right? It would be the quarterfinals. Anyway, chat, it's time to head out of here. Thank you guys very much for being here with us today. Before you leave, drop a like on the stream. And of course, if you want to come, say hi, I don't know, shout out to us, the content creators here, producing this cast for you guys today. Throughout the day, 5 matches. Our links are down below as well. Come to the channel, hit that subscribe button, comment on the video, slap a like on the stream, whatever you want to do, just to kind of let us know that you are enjoying these casts by us. Come to say hi on the channels. Again, Dragothian, thank you very, very much for the cast, chat, and the community of Rise of Kingdoms. This was brought to you by the sponsored content creators of Rise of Kingdoms as well as Lilith Gaming. Thank you guys very much for being here. I made you lose a bet, Hollow. I apologize, but I lost the bet with you, so life is tough sometimes. You'll recover. Don't worry. I'll see you guys sooner rather than later in about, what is it, 5 hours for another match? So, and that one is El Clasico coming back after 10 months. And trust me, you don't want to miss that match. Take care and have a great rest of your day. And until then, peace.